Well, good Friday night. Meteorologist Evan Stewart here, and we're talking about a winter storm this weekend. Here's the winter weather alerts. You can see all of Hampton Road shaded in this pink color. That's a winter storm warning. And these are the areas we are expecting accumulating snow and issues. Now, as you get up the peninsula, and especially the middle peninsula and over towards the eastern shore, I think some of the snowfall totals are really going to vary greatly, almost neighborhood to neighborhood, because we have some really dry air on the north side of it. And that's why areas from Petersburg up towards Richmond and the northern neck are only under winter weather advisories. But this is a big storm, not as big as the one that we saw last week when we had winter storm warnings stretch from New Mexico to New England. But you can see all of North Carolina and South Carolina, northeast Georgia under winter storm warnings as well. And we have seen here, as we have gone through the early part of the evening, the storm's first part of it, the upper level system, starting to come together here across western North Carolina and even into South Carolina. The second part just starting to get organized down here off the coast of Florida. That's the coastal low that is going to rapidly intensify and become a classic nor'easter and a rapidly intensifying storm at that. So the one thing that this storm is going to have with it, aside from the snow, is the gusty winds, and that will add to the issues with some tidal flooding here across the area. So latest satellite and radar, 7 o'clock, showing just a couple of light snow flurries out towards the west. I was checking some of the ground reports, and they were making it to the ground. They're back towards Roanoke Rapids, and we could see an isolated flurry here as we go through the early part of the evening, even 11 o'clock. Futurecast calling for a chance of an isolated snowflake or two, but the main event starts tomorrow morning. This is 6 a.m., cold start to the day, temperatures in the teens to around 20 degrees. Notice a few snow showers starting to break out, and by mid to late morning, we start to see that snow work its way northward. This is stopped at midday tomorrow. So at noon, we'll see the snow working its way up into areas of Virginia. And where we see these darker blues, that's the heavier snow. And that snow is going to come down pretty heavily, quickly. And with temperatures below freezing, cold ground, it's been over 60 some odd hours since we've been above freezing. That snow is going to accumulate quickly. And while it might not be as bad on the treated roads, those secondary roads, neighborhood roads, they're going to snow over pretty quickly. And then that band works its way off towards the north. Now, the darker blues never really make it all the way up the peninsula towards Richmond or West Point, maybe for a few hours, but they're going to linger south side and especially northeastern North Carolina through much of the afternoon and the evening, and that's why our higher snow totals are across southern parts of the area, almost backwards from what we typically see here across Hampton Roads. As we go into late Saturday evening and Saturday night, as the storm intensifies off the coast, it pulls away, pulls in some very cold air. Temperatures in the teens, but wind chills are going to be 0 to 5 below. So a very, very cold start to the day on Sunday. And since we're looking at northeast and north winds, that is going to cause some of those issues with tidal flooding as well. And only 27 degrees by the afternoon. So the official snowfall forecast, northern areas, say from Williamsburg northward up the peninsula, middle peninsula, northern neck, and the eastern shore, 1 to 2. And even that is a little uncertain because there is some dry air, and that is going to work its way in from the north. So I think there's going to be this sharp cutoff. And, it could be a situation where a 20 or 30-minute drive up the peninsula goes from no snow off towards the north to several inches or maybe close to a half foot as you work your way down towards the southern tip of the peninsula. Interior south side, 2 to 4 once you get north and west of Franklin. Much of the rest of the main cities here across the south side looking at 4 to 8 inches of snow and higher amounts, over 8, 10, 12 inches of snow, very possible as you work your way along the Albemarle Sound. And we're going to have to factor in all of those winds. Wanted to show you the models just for full transparency because here we are, less than 24 hours away from the snow starting, and there's still a lot of disagreement in the models. This is the North American model, which is usually a good short-term model, going 10, 12 inches of snow through much of Hampton Roads. I think that's overdone. But notice that sharp cutoff here, Richmond 3 inches, Petersburg, you're getting 6, 7 inches of snow. As we look here towards the American model, the GFS, these numbers a little closer to what we're forecasting. You can see lighter amounts off towards the north, heavier amounts through North Carolina. And the European model has a little bit of dry air coming in even through parts of the south side, but still same general idea, lighter snowfall amounts towards the north, higher snowfall amounts towards the south. And then the other factor we have to talk about, those gusty winds as we go through the day on Saturday, they'll pick up out of the northeast, 29, 30, 39, 40 mile per hour wind gusts along the Outer Banks, and the strongest winds will be along the coastline. And that is just going to create a blowing snow situation as well, and that could lead to almost whiteout conditions at times tomorrow. And notice as we head into early Sunday morning, wind gusts over 50 miles per hour along the Outer Banks, and that is going to add to the issues with tidal flooding, mainly along the Chesapeake Bay and the Atlantic Ocean. I don't think this is going to be a situation where we see too many issues up the rivers. And you can see that here. Sewell's Point, 8:35 on Sunday morning, getting up to 5.6 feet. This is the highest tide. And the good news is this is going to be a fast-moving system, so we're not looking at several high tide cycles that are going to be elevated. It's really just the Sunday morning high tide. Major tidal flooding expected at Lynn Haven Inlet. That's around 8:23 in the morning. Not many issues up towards Yorktown. And Duck Pier, we're looking at major tidal flooding as well. That comes up just before 7 o'clock on Sunday morning. So we do have the clouds out across the area right now, and we're going to see temperatures later tonight dropping down to 20 degrees, 25 tomorrow. Weather impact alert goes into effect in the afternoon as the snow moves in, and some early morning snow, windy and cold into the day on Sunday, 25 degrees, and the snow that is out there, it's not going to go away too quickly. 35 and mostly sunny Monday, 39 on Tuesday. We're back up around 40 by Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but all of those temperatures well below our normal high of 51.